Obviously, this is Cody Sorghum Fry. You know Cody. He's been youth in our youth group. Now he's already a married man of our youth group and leads our worship ministry. But he also is in charge of our media ministry here at the church. And he's a great wealth of knowledge and information when it comes to the media that your students are using, are involved in, or that's even potentially out there for them. And he's a whiz on the phones, your iPhones especially, and that kind of stuff. So he's definitely a resource for you. And I wanted him to come and share a little bit and really just be part of the discussion, because that's what this is going to be, is a discussion. We're going to present some information to you, but really we're going to have a discussion and hopefully answer your questions. And I also invited Rhonda and Jesse here to join us. Rhonda and Jesse Case, they are both junior high teachers within the Puyallup School District. Is that correct? Yeah. You also coach at ER, high school coach. So, they blew me away. We went out and we talked about this. They shared their heart. They want to be part of this, and then we talked about what we would talk to you guys about, and blew me away with all the information that they have, because they are sitting on the other side of the battle lines. They're watching your students and the wars that are going on, the battles that they're facing, and the technology that they bring that you don't know about that's happening at school. They get to see that. And so we shared a lot of information, and we're going to try to do our best to equip you with as much information as you can. But I have to make one statement to you, is we can't cover it all. We can't cover every single app out there, because they make new ones every day. They make new apps to do different things, and we're going to share with you some of the leading ones and some of the trending ones that are happening more and more. And I tell you what, as a parent of teens, these apps, I'm convinced, are designed against us. They are truly designed against us. And I'm sure that under the guise of, well, we want to help them so that they don't damage their future by a post that stays in the internet forever, with some of these things that fall away so quickly. But really, they're against us parents, helping our students and seeing them through technology. So that's what this class is about, Media 101. I'm going to talk about Facebook and Instagram, and then we're going to talk about other apps and stuff. We're doing it at a basic level, and we'll quickly run through into a deeper level once we understand the basics of those things. But this is one of those where quickly raise your hand, we'll get to your questions. We're not going to wait. We want to hit them right when they're out there so we can understand the apps. And I want to move forward if we have a question about an app or about this technology. So, all right, we ready to go for this? Okay. So, technology and the narrow road. There is so much technology that students have access through. And I say through because, back in the day it was your computer where you got onto the internet from. And then Apple started putting out these iPods, and when they were first out, they were just music players. They just played music. Then all of a sudden, they started doing other things, and then they got smart. We call them smart, but I still can't spell that thing, so I don't know how smart it is. But then everything's now designed to be able to give them access to the world. And that's truly what it is. It's access to the world. I can't believe where you can go with these phones. I mean, think about the power and the bandwidth and the memory and everything we have in this device that we carry around in our pockets. Governments used to fill rooms with to cover the same amount of technology that we carry in these phones. And then we give them to kids to go and just do what they do. So it's vast. And I would imagine you guys see a lot of screen time happening at school, right?
Oh yeah. I take away phones multiple times throughout the day. They can't get enough of their technology. And when we were doing some of the research, 11 hours a day on average kids are spent connected, whether it's phone, screen, time like that. And I mean, if you don't have, I was hearing Pastor Ron at the end saying 10 o'clock have the phones downstairs. Kids are up and they'll come to school, I'm so tired. Well, why are you so tired? Well, I was up till 3 texting my friends, Snapchatting, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you're in bed sleeping because you're their parents and you don't really care about Snapchat, but they're up till 3 in the morning.
Yeah. And I know for me, I'm a PE teacher and we're in the gym. Kids are wearing shorts, a lot of times don't have pockets. We have a t-shirt on and kids cannot stay away from their phone. They can't put it in locked up in a locker for one period, one class period. I can't tell you how many times a day phones are falling out of the cases, breaking apart, and after doing some tiny little a jump or whatever is happening, but I don't know where they're coming from. I mean, they've got them stuffed down their pants. I'm not kidding, girls, it's in their shirts. They cannot leave their phones. It's ridiculous. And you probably see that firsthand.
Do schools have policies against phones?
Oh, well, ours is you can be on your cell phone at lunch if you're outside. So they have security outside, and so that's the time kids are on their phones. And then it's up to teacher preference in the classroom. So no electronics is a school rule, up to teacher preference though in the classroom, because sometimes we'll let them listen to music when they're studying, or sometimes students will earn rewards where they'll say, okay, technology for the day, that sort of thing. But the rule is no electronics.
Do you know when your kids' lunches are at school? Well, actually, take a step back. Do you know your school's policy on media? If you don't, find that out.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if it is a lunchtime policy, do you know what their lunch hour is? Because then you can see right then and there, hey, you just liked my post. I see your students like my Instagram posts throughout the day. I'm wondering, and I haven't thought about looking at the time, but what are they doing? I thought they were at school, kind of thing. So you should consider that. Now, Cascade Christian, that wasn't a problem, right? Christian school, nobody brought phones.
We couldn't afford phones.
Oh, is that what it was?
Christian school tuition.
Right, there you go. All right, so let's cover parenting above reproach when the world wants your kids to fail. Ron talked about it, law versus grace, but we have to understand that we have to be diligent on that line because the world just wants to take it down. The things that are created, the technology that they have at their hands, it wants to take them down. And we know that. And Ron said it, we have an enemy that hates them, and we have a world that could care less about godliness and just purity in general, let alone what they can do with these phones. So that's what this is about. This is what we want to talk about here. Setting boundaries. The first boundary we talked about was cell phones in the house. Right. Make yourself a note, set a house policy, what your policy is going to be. Our policy is, usually we shut things down around 9 o'clock in the house, at least for the kids. Well, I have one kid left, so for Josh, to go and go to bed, and that phone gets plugged in, and then that's it, and it stays downstairs until he gets up. And there is no debate otherwise. But what are your other boundaries that you have? Can they just go anywhere? Can they go any app? What's the internet policy? What can they do? What are your boundaries there? Where are your computers in your homes? Where do their iPads go? Where does their media go? What are your boundaries? Because you think hard about and pray hard about where your boundaries are, and stay true to those boundaries. But you gotta have them there. Boundaries in all kinds of different places.
And if I could add to that, you guys are at a disadvantage because your kids know so much more about everything that you just said than you do. And so you're fighting a fight that you're not equipped to fight. And just being aware, and I don't know. It's an upstream battle, it seems like. But it's reality.
Yeah, and we've been talking a lot, and these guys are great about equipping us, and Cody as well, letting me know what's going on, and I'm going to do a better job of sharing that, either with a blog or emails or whatever. But the statistics and some of the things that we're going to talk about that she's already researched on, we'll keep sharing that with you, because it's the problem with these social media is it just trends more and more, and there's new things all the time. I run the social media for a $1 million organization. And we're constantly trying to stay focused and staying current on what's going on and what's the latest. We're an insurance company, no less, but we have a Pinterest page. Why would an insurance company have a Pinterest page? Well, we do because it's relevant in technology. We didn't have one 3 years ago. Things just come rapidly. And all of a sudden, you're going to end up like me, where your kid has an app on his phone called Snapchat, and you don't know anything about it. And I am pretty versed on all that stuff, and I don't know anything about it. Then I start hearing about it. We'll talk a little bit more about it. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. So we need to set some boundaries here. Our boundaries boundary was for a cell phone was 16. We said 16 is when you can have a phone, and you can get on Facebook too. Facebook was a 16 age thing. And I'm not talking about a cell phone. They can have a cell phone. We let them have a cell phone. But I'm talking about a smartphone. There is a difference between a cell phone and a smartphone. We all know that, right? There's some phones that aren't, they're not going to have all the technology. If you have to buy a data package for your phone, it's a smartphone. Don't let them fool you any other way. If there's a data package, it's a smartphone.
But what about that iPod that can still do stuff?
Exactly.
Yep. It's the same thing. It's a smart thing. So anything like that, our boundary was 16. And that was, you got to do it in a healthy way of teaching them why. And it's a struggle because everyone else has it.
Our boundary is when you can pay for it yourself, you can get it.
Okay? That's one too. Our boys have been able to do that long ago because they have paper route. So they've been able to pay for it. So our boundary had to shift to cover that. But be conscious on the boundaries that you're going to set. New apps. That boundary we talked about monitoring, that's got to be a must. And you got to be, not just look at their transition, but scroll through all the screens, right? If you know a smartphone, you know that you have, one second here, you have multiple screens that have apps in them. And check the folders too. Maybe they can hide it. They can't hide an app on a screen. An app's got to be on the screen. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, you can hide them on Android.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then you have to go to the apps button to look at everything. So I could just have only 2 apps showing on my screens that you scroll through, they all look empty.
Right.
But really I have like 100.
Okay, so for you, the Android users, and know what kind of phone, I mean, you probably do, but know what kind of phone that you have, what you're dealing with, so that you can say, I know on an Android versus an iPhone. All right. Any questions on boundaries? Anything more we need to talk about? We'll get into some of them, but.
My question's just related to our situation.
Okay.
Because all of our kids have 2 sets of parents.
Okay.
So obviously the other house is going to have completely different ones than our house. And just how to present that in a good way, I guess, to the kids that, I know that you get complete access to whatever you want over there, but that's not going to happen here.
Yeah. Well, you're setting that boundary and you're explaining the why, and you're going to. And my recommendation is there's an understanding of why it is your boundary is what it is, and your monitoring is going to cover all. So wherever they're taking that phone, school or the other home, you're still going to be able to see that type of stuff. And as we talked earlier, if they lose the trust when they come into your home, I mean that's the best you can do. If you take it away when they come to your house, that's what you have to do because they've lost that trust. You can't control what they're doing over there, but you can still monitor it and you can see what they're doing.
Especially if you're kind of the one who's paying for it. I don't know which side.
I didn't know
So
that.
if
We
you
went
were,
there a lot. We went there a lot.
okay.
Yeah.
If you were, I'd say that was something you could.
Our 8 and 9-year-olds have things that
Yeah.
we wouldn't have allowed.
Well, then maybe we can help you into controlling those better, setting the boundaries within those devices to help them. And ultimately, then the other home has to make the decision: do I want to allow them to change these restrictions, so to speak? Because there's codes that you set on there.
Do you know if there's any way to restrict like Netflix? Because that's one of our.
Yeah, we actually just found out that you can restrict the age limit on the movies or the type. So if it's PG, PG-13, whatever, you can restrict that. You can restrict it under music, what's allowed to play through the device. At least in the iPhone, and I'm sure the Android might have the same type of thing. But you can set boundaries throughout the phone and the apps. If there's an age limit on apps, you can set them all there as well.
And then if you have to be the person that pays for the bill in order to.
You just go.
You just have to know the code.
Yeah.
The code.
Yeah.
Like their password to get
Username and password.
Yeah.
If we're going to be
And that's a great boundary to have. Know the code.
Netflix.
Know their little 4-digit code that unlocks their phone. If they don't tell you the phone, there's a trust level that they don't get to have the phone. I mean, for us it was we get to know your code, we get access to it. You want a phone, then that's part of the rules. That's part of the boundary you get. Because it still is a privilege. I read a blog. I heard this lady write to her son about the phone. And I mean, it was funny, and if I can remember to find it, I'll send it to you. But she really said, that's my phone. I pay for it. Even if they pay for it, it's under your plan. Until they're an adult, they're under your home. That's your phone. So if they don't want to play by that, then restriction, the boundaries are no phone. But know the codes, know how to get into their phone. Cool. All right, so Facebook. We're all familiar with Facebook. You should be, at least you should understand that there's a world out there. There's 1 billion people now on Facebook. Yeah, with a B, billion people on Facebook. And so there's a high probability if there's a smartphone on your kid's phone that they're on Facebook. And so I wanted to just show Facebook for anyone who doesn't understand Facebook or to any different levels. The main thing with Facebooks are the likes, right? People like and comment. So people will post something on a page and there's a like that connects them with that. And you can see that. I'm not sure if this is going to work. It's on the screen. Oh well. Anyway, there's a like, and the box that I highlighted there's the actions that people take on Facebook. So they like something, they comment something, and they can share something on their posts. So we're all familiar with Facebook and how it works and the connectivity to it. Facebook doesn't actually show you everything that everyone's doing that's on your friend list. There's algorithms behind the scene that push the most popular people for you to the surface. So the people that you interact more you're more likely to see the interactions that they have. So the simple fact is that when you're looking through your kid's Facebook feed and to see who's on that feed, you're seeing people they're most interacting with, or there's some connection where they're involved with them more. Someone pops up, they're like, oh, that's interesting. Why is that person on there? Because that person is something they've interacted with. They like the comment, they've shared, or Facebook is smart enough to not just flood your feed with everything random where you just won't look at it anymore.
And it might not even be just something that they've looked at, but also if their friends have found something in common, like I'll notice, like if my sister will like something, that will pop up on my newsfeed as well too. So it's not just necessarily what your kids are choosing, but what their friends are choosing.
Yeah.
Things like that too.
Yeah, Facebook has that newsfeed thing down on the side as well, where a lot of things just come fast through that. But then there's comments, and then you can see you guys as parents should know who's interacting with your kids, flat out. You should know, you should be able to see who's interacting on the page. What they're posting, of course, and don't judge them for randomness and weirdness, and they're kids, they're just going to post stuff that's going to be like, really? But don't we post stuff now? It's like, really? Why would we really do that? But nevertheless, and I'm not talking about bad, I'm just talking about, kind of lame. But know who's interacting with them. I go on to my kids' posts and look and see who's interacting with them. Do the same thing in Instagram and all that kind of stuff. I know who's their common likers and who's commonly interacting with and who are they interacting with. So
Look at their friend lists.
yeah. And you can do that without even being in their account, but know the password too. Any questions on Facebook, how it works, and all that? Cool. So, did you know Facebook has settings that can be set, and they're very robust when it comes to that. The settings that you can set. So you can determine the level of activity that they see, the people that they see. You can determine who can contact them. There's so much if you go through privacy settings within Facebook. And again, you're doing this with their login. So you've logged in as their name, or you've just said, hey, will you pull up Facebook on the computer, please? Sign into Facebook, please. And then you go set these privacy settings. You can set these privileges up.
How can you block it though? They can go ahead and change it.
Exactly.
Well, they can't. So then your boundary is you keep looking at the settings. Part of your boundaries is if you have that trust issue, you go back and look at the settings. Yeah, and if you discover that every time you change a setting, they immediately go right back and do that, then we're going back to the beginning and you have a trust issue and you remove that.
Maybe they don't need a Facebook account. But
Yeah.
You have to be on a computer to do this part, right?
Correct. Yeah, you have to be on a computer.
Question. Sometimes youth are fairly intelligent.
Oh yeah.
They can change the setting, do what they got to do, change it back.
Yeah.
Will Facebook email you when a setting is changed? Is there notification properties when you change a setting?
No, not that I've found.
There's other
It'll go to
there's
their
other blocks, so you can look in your computer to see changes like that too.
Basically,
It
these are
won't email you.
parental control features.
Right.
These are designed for your Facebook account. So this is kind of a workaround. And if
going back to the trust issue, if you have trust issues, maybe they shouldn't have a Facebook account.
Which means then you'd have to keep them off the internet completely.
Which we do in our
School, phone, nothing, because at any time they have any opportunity to get, they're at a friend's house, they can get on and get on their
Too, we do
Facebook.
no nothing in our house. She can't even get on the computer because it has a password. I have to turn the computer on for her. No internet on her phone. Every time she goes to school, she can still manage to get in trouble from something she said on Facebook. Well, and it's a dummy account, you know what I mean? I can't log into it because I don't know it exists because.
Exactly, because they'll change
Because
your
everybody
name
has a
and
smartphone or an
create
iPhone or
a different account on a different name. So even if you were to look for your kid on Facebook, you wouldn't know because they put themselves on as a different name.
Yeah.
And they change their passwords.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be one straight answer to get all that, but you start piecing stuff together, you start seeing, hey, you're doing this on your phone or whatever, what account, oh, I didn't see any, I'm on Facebook right now, oh, did you make a post? Yeah, I just posted something, and then you look at, you can see their feed, oh, I didn't see anything on the feed that I'm following, I didn't see anything on the, you're just staying on top of it, so to speak, and you're smart, and you gotta figure it out. I know that they are smarter, Jason, that is correct. They know how to do this. But at least at minimum, you know how to set these settings. And you can set up an environment that at least within what you can do, that you set these up. And they may stick. And maybe they don't know. I'm sure they do know how to do these things. But maybe they don't, and at least you set it that way. But I would.
So what if I wanted to allow her to have internet on her phone and me as the one that pays the bill and have an account, access to the account, if she has a dummy Facebook account set up through her phone that I don't know about, is there a way for me to get on the computer and see that when I pay the bill or something, that there's a Facebook account through that phone? Even though I don't know how to log on to it, I can say, oh, well, you have a Facebook account because I have access to it.
I'll be talking about something here towards the end that will kind of answer that question. So if I don't answer it, ask it again.
Yeah, we'll get to the accountability side. I think it'll help a lot of these things that you're talking about too, the changes that are taking place. So look at that, and if you have more of an open relationship, and you're trying to just help them to understand, and you go through these settings, this is why I think it's not a good idea for you to share your comments with the rest of the entire world. Just do it to your friends. Do you need somebody in Russia to know what you're saying? No? Then okay, here, let's do this. Your friends still get to see it. Isn't that what's most important? Yes. And you're just having that conversation, and you can set that there. Again, you're gonna have to judge the law versus the grace thing. I mean, there are standards that you have, but if with my boys, we're pretty open as far as why we set settings that we set, and for the most part, I feel like they're following them. They understand them.
I'll tell you too, coming from the employer standpoint, that the world today is a lot different. You are going to get looked at things you post and your friends post and come across your Facebook. You would be wise to narrow your scope on this thing for yourself if you want to get employed, because they're going to go in there, they're going to see who's feeding into you, and they're going to make judgment calls on who you are from them.
Yeah, and that's the thing with talking with your children about too. Asking them those tough questions. Do you really want people to see you in this way? And especially junior high school kids. These are your friends. People will judge you by who your friends are. And they don't care that you're not posting, bad pictures or questionable photos, but your friends are. And what person do you want people to see you as?
We hire young people at manufacturing plant. Our HR manager checks Facebook first thing. It's one of the first things they do to see who they are. Because you don't know off application, because every application looks the same.
Right.
But your Facebook account tells what you are.
Yeah.
It's a lot about a person.
It does. It does. All right, there's another part of it. You can block different users. So if your kids, it looks like there's having a problem with somebody at school, maybe some cyberbullying or different things like that. There are ways to help them in that. There are apps that you can block as well within Facebook. Because see, sometimes Facebook will interact with an app that you have on your phone, and so you're interacting, and you can block it. It says, no, you don't get to interact with that app, or you're just going to block that app type of thing. So that's another opportunity to look through, and it's all under the settings. And so that little corner wheel gadget thing, you click that, and that's where you go down and you see settings, and then you find it. You find it from there. Well, any questions? explore it. And call us, email, whatever, if you have questions about setting that up.
And just before we kind of move on, and under the block apps, we're going to be talking about an app called Tinder coming up, which should be blocked. No kids need that app coming in. We'll talk about it a little more, but just to let you know, that's where you because it uses data from Facebook in order to do what the app does. And we'll talk about it a little more later, but Tinder is the name of it, and we'll go over that.
All right. Instagram. Have you arrived on Instagram yet? Your kids have. And some people do, some people don't. But I have. It's where, see, what happens with Facebook was you went on Facebook. The parents went on Facebook. And they're like, what? We don't want our parents on Facebook. Facebook actually, I would imagine most of the billion people on Facebook are adults. They're not kids anymore. And actually the younger generations are leaving Facebook and going to other apps in an effort to stay where their parents aren't. They don't want to go to the parties that you're going to, right? And you crash their party. So they're moving on. And right now, one of the big ones is Instagram. And so if you're not familiar with Instagram, I'm not sure how well this shows. This is my son. I got his permission to use this as an illustration. But Instagram is basically a photo sharing app, right? You're sharing a photo and you're connecting to the world. If you have Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. You're posting pictures up there constantly. It's taken the part of Facebook that people used, which was that photo post, sharing what you're doing through photo, and it's made it all about that. So Instagram is all about that app. Big thing with Instagram, and I'm going to go through a lot of it, is this is a post, right? But more and more, you see these hashtags. You see the hashtags? Okay, ready for hashtag 101?
Yes.
I love it. Hashtag 101, okay? The hashtag connects the world. It connects the world. When you do hashtag snow, you've just joined a worldwide conversation. Anybody in the world who has put in their post #snow or hashtag snow, you've just joined them in a conversation.
Wait, so putting the pound sign?
That's it. The hashtag is what
All you
connects
have to
them.
do is, the only thing you could type the same thing, but as soon as that pound sign goes in, it broadens the audience.
What happens is anybody who types in the same thing, hashtag snow, in this world will now, their picture will be fed into a stream. And so Josh just joined the stream of hashtag snow. So if you want to search a hashtag, the reason why it's blue, it means it links somewhere. You click it and you're going to see everybody's hashtag. But they don't all make sense. I mean, I posted a hashtag that doesn't.
So you could just go for photo.
Oh yeah.
Photo.
Oh yes. And some of the bigger ones like snow will probably have millions of pictures.
Right.
That a million people have used that specific hashtag on there. There's a hashtag for the conference. There's a hashtag for this Purity conference. It's hashtag #MadeNewPC. The theme of the conference is Made New, Purity Conference, hashtag #MadeNewPC. If you want to see all the pictures that people are taking from this Purity Conference, you type in that hashtag and you'll get to see all of the...
But you have to have an Instagram account.
Well, if you're on Instagram, right. So there's 21 pictures right now, and I didn't take them all. Other people have used the same hashtag. Your kids have used that hashtag. And so the hashtag joins a conversation, for good.
For all the photos.
Okay, for good, we...
Meaning, anybody can make a comment.
Anybody who uses that hashtag, you're in now. Well, what they can do is you join up to that conversation. Now, if your privacy settings are set as such as where you can't interact with people, or and I would recommend all your students have privacy settings that only followers can see the pictures that they post, then they're not getting much further. But they can make a request. And it could be somebody in Russia looking like Justin Bieber, and saying, "Hey, be my friend," and then they follow them. Then they've opened themselves up, and immediately they'll get flooded with
And
pictures.
anybody can create that. Like I can get on right now and put shoes, create
Hashtag.
my own hashtag.
Might already
Yes.
be there though, you might get.
Well, I mean, for example,
Especially-
Yeah. No, seriously. Anyway,
I could do Stephanie Johnson's big toe hashtag, and
well, put the hashtag in front of it. Because hashtags go in front.
okay. But now it's inviting everybody to
Anybody who searches the hashtag,
actual name.
that actual, yes,
hashtag.
yeah.
So, go ahead.
Why?
Because people,
Why would you do that?
So people
I don't
can search.
understand.
That's where you gotta leave it behind because you don't put rationality in something.
yeah, you don't.
Why do you want your picture to be in this big pool of snow?
Because part of it is fun, part of it is everyone else is doing it, part of it is people want to feel like, hey, someone likes my picture, that's kind of cool, I feel validated. This world is so about being validated that you can post a picture, and there's people who are trying to get as many people to like their pictures as they can, and I'll admit to you, at the early on stages, I was like that too. I would have competitions with my boss, who's an Instagrammer, and he would do these pictures and get like 150 people liking it. I'm like, how do you do that? And for me, it was just a simple competition. I wanted to beat somebody at something, but I then got exposed to the world of hashtags, and people are just using whatever.
These work on Facebook as well. So
Yes,
get them on
they
Facebook.
do as of like last year or something.
Okay.
Facebook, they use them
They're
on
on there
Facebook as
too.
well.
Okay.
They're not as much used on Facebook. They weren't really designed. They started on Twitter, and then as Instagram, people used them on Instagram, and they connected the same way. So yeah.
Is there any way to block that feature? And no, there isn't. That we were talking the other night about how an innocent hashtag, so words that can be taken multiple ways. So like, let's say I post a picture of my cute little nephew and I say like hashtag oh baby or something, like, or cute baby or my baby. Well, people like could post pictures of their baby meeting their girlfriend or their boyfriend in not the most loving or in inappropriate ways. And if I would click, so what you can do is, so since it's a link, you would click on the hashtag snow, and it would bring you to all those pictures that have the same hashtag of oh baby. And so, whereas innocently I'm hashtagging a picture of my cute little baby nephew, other people aren't. And so your kids
And
will
those
be.
sickos are gonna see your nephew.
Yes, exactly.
But so I want to go back to Michelle's question, why? That's a great question to ask. Why? To ask your kids, why? Why do you do that? I mean, they asked me, they called me the hashtag assassin because I was trying to, I put so many hashtags to try to get people to like me to compete with my boss, that I realized I don't want to go that route because I'm getting people who don't know me liking my picture, and I realized, well, I don't really want that. I just want to beat him with the number, but other than that, why? And so that's a great question to ask. Why? Josh, why did you do that? Well, I might imagine his answer is because it's kind of the thing to do right now is to hashtag things.
Yeah, and kids that are well-grounded, it's a fun thing to do, but unfortunately, a lot of kids are looking for love and affirmation and things. They don't have a sense of purpose. They come from apes, or animals. So they have no purpose in life, and they need confirmation, adoration, love. And it's just, they're getting it anywhere they can.
So, I mean, and so for the
I don't see any snow in the picture.
I said no judge, okay? I said no judge. Remember, at the beginning we talked about that. We can't rationalize what they post, okay? No, just in general. I see what gets posted, I'm like, seriously, are you kidding me?
Does it not keep record of that? Over the comments?
It does keep record of the posts that you make. So you can just look through the posts that they have made and you'll see all the hashtags that have been used. So, but I think it's worth a conversation. Do you really know what's happening in the hashtag? Is that what you want to do? Again, privacy settings will prevent them from getting that. But they can still get a request to like that person, that type of thing. So, and it can show up if they're following, because that person, I think, can follow them. No, they have to make a request to follow.
You can either have anyone can follow you, or you can set up your settings where people have to request to follow you. I had this guy in Russia request to follow me, and I just declined. I mean, I don't know who you are. I don't care to know who you are. No.
But you have that temptation, matched with what we talked about earlier, and then you add the validation and the peer pressure, and maybe they see, yeah, okay, what's alarm? And now they're with some weird psycho in Russia or something, so.
And kids would be cool, it's from Russia.
Right.
Like,
because they think it's snowing,
Yeah.
and that's snowing. They have different levels of thought, right? Because they're still young, and their minds aren't mature. In the insurance industry, the reason why we rate your kids with a lot of premiums is because we know, and their studies show their mind isn't formative. Their judgment skills are limited. And that's just the simple fact. When you put them behind a wheel of a car at high speeds, their judgment is not quickly as ours is. So, Yes.
Well, and to Michelle's question, one of the things like with Twitter for hashtags is what's trending.
Correct.
So when you're what's trending like you did, trying to draw people into what's trending,
Yeah.
it's gonna draw more of that. So if they're trying to, if kids are trying to post into what's trending, they're gonna draw more.
Yeah, and that's kind of how Twitter works, or Instagram works as far as that goes.
But if your account on that, if it's closed your privacy setting, then your hashtags don't go into this big
Yes, they do.
pool for
Yes,
the
they do.
You just don't have to hashtag. You can choose not to hashtag.
Yes.
But they
So you
do.
can tell your children, I do not want you hashtagging. You can do this and that, but no hashtagging.
Well, you could try that.
You can try that.
And that's again where you're gonna.
Yes,
you're-
Because you take a picture of yourself and you have a privacy setting, but you just took a picture of yourself, hashtagged it, and guess who? Everybody in the world now gets to see you and discussing this happens.
Right. Yeah.
Hello? I'm
But-
sorry, that's.
But they don't,
that
they
seems like
they don't
a
always see the
no-no.
end, they don't see all of it, they don't see the bigger
Maybe on
picture.
that particular app, you know what I mean? Maybe don't even allow Instagram.
That's gonna be very hard to manage as a parent, to not allowing Instagram.
Really?
It's gonna be very hard.
It's
I
not
mean,
just
just because,
see it.
again, if you say no, law is gonna divert them to go figure out what to do without that. So, you
Even
know.
if you like allow Facebook or something, this is what's in right now.
Yeah, because I
This is
mean,
what they want.
with my son, we set the rule of Instagram, or Facebook, and I didn't talk about Instagram, and then all of a
They
sudden
said
he's
you
on
looked at the phone,
Instagram.
you're like,
I'm
oh.
like, oh, well, I guess it's on Instagram now, okay, and my rule with Facebook applied to Instagram, so I said, okay. But then he's on Snapchat. I'm like, huh?
That's the one I think-
What?
I
We'll
think
get there,
that's the one where-
we'll get there. So,
Oh my.
they should, that's the one you can just delete, and they can talk to me and understand why, if they have any problem with that. You said, go talk to Pastor Jason, because he said.
So no
delete it.
Snapchat.
No Snapchat, we'll get there. So that's hashtag. So, but in Instagram, you can know who they are following, and you don't even have to be logged into their account to see who they are following. Hey, I'm following you. Did you do that? Did you follow me? Yeah. So you can know who they're following, and so I stalk her. Hey, I'm gonna admit it. Camera's right there. Josh, I stalk you. I go out and I'll look and see who's following him. I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this? Oh, well, I think that's from his school. And I ask him, well, who's this person? Oh, that's the guy from school. Okay, but that's fine, I understand. But you get to know, you get to see, and you don't have to log into their account to see who they're following. You should do that. You should know who they're following.
How do you find out without logging into your account?
If you're on Instagram, you go to their name, you click their name, so you go.
So
if I hit Joshua like 13.
Yes. My own account.
Yes.
You can't just, yes, that's what she's saying.
Yeah, you have to have
You
Instagram.
have to have your own. And then you can go you can go search their username, which is, so his is Josh Murdoch 13. So he would click on that, and it would give a list of everyone who's.
So that's his username. If it's blue, anytime on the internet that it's blue, it usually means it links to somewhere else. This links to his account, then I can then click on the top, it says following followers. I can click who he's following and I'll see this list. And this will tell me if I'm, if I'm following those people. So it'll say requested. If you're logged in through their account, it will
But
say.
do you find like people use nicknames or crazy names and put some people put little Seahawks, different pictures that aren't even them and they use usernames. So how are you gonna know who they're following?
You ask them. If you have a question, ask them. And again, that's going to establish your barriers, your boundaries are going to be hard if you.
Well, I'm gonna solicit prayer about that right now.
Right, yeah. Okay, so we good on that, understand that? So now here's the other thing. Know who their followers are. These are people who are following them. I don't even know why Seattle Wine Gal is following me. But know who's following them and ask the question, why is Seattle Wine Gal following you? You get to see all these things and like, who's that? And these aren't who they're following, because it'll say if they're following that person, but it's who's following them.
Can you block them?
Their privacy setting says only people that they've requested, so that means they've chosen, if their privacy setting is that, and they're following them, then they made the decision to allow them to be their follower. They have to make the decision to accept or reject. Anything to add on that, Cody?
In their prior settings, can they block that for us to see it?
No,
No?
I don't believe.
They could, yeah, so if you say, can I please see your Instagram? They can go to who's following them and who they're following, and they could show you. Yes.
Okay, but in their prior settings, for example, whether you're doing it using, for example, doing it using my own account, can she, in her private settings, in her account, block that so I can have access to see that?
Oh, she could probably, I don't think she can block it, no.
No?
Yeah.
But she has to friend you, so that's the first thing you have to do, is you can't just sneak in from behind. You have to friend them, and they have to like you, especially if their privacy setting is set to only allow people they're following. So you have to have at least that boundary, I get to follow you.
Yeah, so setting that friend boundary can sometimes backfire.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of kids have gotten off Facebook, because their parents insisted that you have to be my friend on Facebook.
Right.
It was the same
So-
thing with MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace started the whole thing, and
Yeah.
parents, we started following their kids and stuff, and Facebook appeared.
I would say, I never even
And I
had
lost
MySpace, but it was done by the time I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Check the news. See what's going on. This is your feed. So this is my feed. These are people that interact. And if you've gotten their phone and you click the Instagram app and you're doing your checks on them, you can see the things that the activity that they follow. Who have they liked? Who has liked their photo? Who's left comments on their photo? That kind of thing and stuff. So you get to know what's in the news, so to speak. Sorry, you got me.
Both of them.
Both of them are. But see, and I follow as many youth, if I know that they're on Instagram, and I check and see who likes a picture of a friend, like one of our students puts a picture and who likes it, I'll go and see who that is, and I follow them. And I have rarely had anyone not accept my friend request within Facebook, or within Instagram, so I follow them. And I just do that just as a matter of practice, but I also stalk them too, let you know.
No, I think it's good, because they're gonna be more like, ooh, we should show that Pastor Jason's on there.
Yeah, and so here's the next thing that you can do once you're following them. You can see what they're up to, what they like, what photos, the people that are in your feed, you can see what they like, and the things that they comment. And I do question sometimes, really, even our students, you like that picture, or you like that band, or that kind of thing? They do, right? One Direction, anything they post something, a lot of people like their stuff, including some of our kids as well. So, but you can see the things that the people that you're following, the interactions and the things that they're doing. So I often will click not just the news, but I'll click the following to see what the people that I'm following, what they're up to. And a lot of times that's your students, and see that. So that's something that you can do as well, just to be in the know. And that's not even logging in and picking up their phone. That's just going through your own account and seeing, because you like them, you get to see what they're up to. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, and this is the worst part of Instagram. Yes. And you can't stop it. And I don't know.
There's nothing.
There's nothing you can do about Instagram. And ultimately, you can make the decision about it and whatnot. And maybe there's some apps that we can help with what you're talking. Maybe it picks up some of this stuff. But there's a button that Instagram calls the Explorer button. I don't know if you can see it. It's that little kind of star symbol or whatever. And basically that brings up the most popular pictures in Instagram, and it takes a random selection of those ones for the last 10, 30 seconds, whatever, and pops them up. And you can refresh and the new images pop up. And there's most of the time it's garbage out there. And that's what people do. And images that probably you don't want them seen, and most likely they're seen. And so it just pops up. And that's the Explorer button. And I don't know, we're still figuring out how to manage that.
And recently you'll see little video icons. Instagram, I want to say in the last half a year, also has video now. So, and they're short, but still, you can get a lot into a short video.
Yeah.
So.
And these I was reading on the break, or between sessions, reading what gets on there, and they said most likely it's the most popular, whoever gets the most likes in the first 30 seconds of their post, and then that ends up feeding this feed. And so, I follow some sports guys too, and those will pop up there really quick. And hey, Danger Russ, which is Russell Wilson, made it to the most popular feed, and so that's where he made it on here. And they follow sports guys, they follow entertainers, anyone, now a lot of people have Instagram accounts. So, just be on guard, understand that, and a conversation has to be had about it. But we haven't figured out yet how to block that part of it and how to control that, and I'm hoping that the app that you're gonna share might pick up some of this, because if it takes them to that place, so. All right, so we're gonna go over the real story. I'm gonna turn this over to Jesse to give us some facts. And it's gonna be sad, some of these facts that are gonna be out there, but they're reality. And then we're gonna talk about accountability, how we can help, how you can help, and how you can kind of form this together and help them through the dangers of the phones and whatnot.
So we'll spend just a quick, brief time just blasting through a couple of these harsh realities. And then, because I want to spend the majority of the time on, okay, what now? What can we do? But reality is, over 70% of teens have accessed internet material their parents would not approve of. I'd say that's being conservative. And reality is, I'd say just about everyone, you just kind of, all of a sudden it's there. You kind of stumble upon it. Not the app, but you literally do stumble upon things you don't want to see. 1 in 10 teens admit to posting a revealing picture of themselves on the internet. And that is just, it's a scary thing. And, you know, I don't think as Christians or Christian families that we're immune to these statistics. In fact, I think the enemy would love nothing more than to attack us with these statistics.
And obviously, I'll go back there real quick. I want to say one thing too is look at the posts, look at the pictures they post. They may not even understand, and it may not even be revealing, but it can be provocative. And they may not even understand it's provocative or to the level that they think it's provocative because they see other people doing it. But selfies and the way selfies are taken, and sometimes selfies that they put up there's, especially for young girls, there's an allure factor. And for whatever reason that's going through their minds, or it could be peer pressure, it could be just I want to get my picture liked, to hey, I want to feel good about myself. But you got to watch that because I see that through some of the pictures that are posted.
So if they take those selfies or those pictures of themselves for these apps, is that saved to their phone? Like if you went into their pictures, it's going to be in there too? So even if you can't get on to, like I don't have Instagram, so I can't get on there, but I can still see it because it should be in his pictures.
So they delete it.
They can delete that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some apps too that they'll, like Instagram, you can take the picture within Instagram. Does Instagram save that picture on your camera?
Yes.
At least for Android, yes.
It does on Android, yeah.
And just kind of a reality that I observe in the schools, whether it's before school or after school, I do supervision, so I'm watching them right after school, and it's amazing how many kids go like this, and they're walking around. I don't know how they don't bump into each other, and what they do is, it's not that they're sitting there typing things or texting anymore. Texting is almost gone. It's that they're getting in groups, they're taking pictures, they're doing all these things, and these pictures aren't just going to their gallery. These pictures are going onto these apps so that they can be broadcast. Most of the time it's harmless, but not all the time. This is, I would suggest that it's probably more than this. More than half of teens admit to clearing their browsing history. Okay, that's something you can do from any internet device. Clear your browsing history, it's gone for the most part, unless you're really good. It's out of your eyes. And so they can go look at what they want, get that out of there, erase it, and it's like it never happened. So know that's a harsh reality. 49% of teens admit to viewing online content away from home to keep their parents out. So half of students are going away from you. They know it's not okay, but they go out of your way so that they can see that stuff. Probably at school, it's happening. It is happening all over the place. And then just kind of some numbers here. Over $3,000 is spent on pornography every single second. And over 28,000 people are viewing pornography every single second. So I don't know if we can really wrap our minds around that, but just knowing how much of it is out there is just scary. It really is. So if there's no questions on that, we'll talk about some. We just kind of came up with a list of kind of a top 5 apps to be aware of.
Yeah. And these are the most popular that we can fairly see that are the most popular apps that aren't on they're not the main ones. They're not the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagrams. They're some of the next level ones, but again, now the kids are wanting to go, because now we're all going to go on Instagram. I just told you we'll all go on Instagram. So now they're going to move to that next level. It's like this game, right, that they're chasing. And I know often, or a lot of the times, it's not with maybe necessarily our kids, but see what happens is it's these worldly kids. You get parents out there who don't really parent on the same level, and all of a sudden they catch their kid looking at porn, they don't understand that, then oh, you can't be on this, or I'm following you on this, and so they're in this constant battle. They move on to the next one, and parents are oblivious for months until they figure them out. But the problem is they're doing those things, and then they're asking your kids, hey, you want to join Snapchat with me? Let's do, and then they're taking your kids down there. So we want to show you some of the apps that are next level to keep an eye out on.
And before we move on from talking about the whole pornography thing, I just want to say we were watching this video about just how young kids are exposed to it, and 8 years old is the most common age that kids first get introduced to it. So if you think your child is mature enough to handle it between 8 and 10, I had 5th graders last year. I taught 5th grade. They knew way too much than they should have as 5th graders, and they're 10 years old at that time. So talk to your children, start early, make them aware of kind of what's out there and what's appropriate, or what their classmates might be showing them and shocking them with.
And understand, we have to understand this, there's a reality, there's predators out there. There are predators out there. And these apps only make it easier for them to connect, to know where kids are at. There's a really just ugly side of our society that's growing is sex trafficking. And it's just the reality what it is, and it's young girls and young boys and all that they're doing. And the reality is most of those people have been a predator that either grabbed them or drew them in, or something subtle started them into that, and ultimately they're in that. So that's a reality, and there's just something that we have to be on guard for and prayerful for too. But these type of things help us to really see that.
So like with Snapchat and some of the other apps, do you do it the same way you would Facebook? You create your own account and then you ask them to be their friends and they accept you or don't accept you?
We'll talk, we'll get into
Snapchat, that won't work, and you'll see why.
Yeah.
So with some of these apps, not all of them that we're going to talk about, some of them they can be used in a good way. Not all of them that we're going to talk about, but it deserves a conversation with your kids and that level of trust, and you know best.
Before you do that, Snapchat's a good example of they can accomplish everything they want to accomplish in Snapchat on another different platform. They don't have to be on Snapchat, right? The idea, we'll go ahead and just jump into real quick. Snapchat is an app where you are doing messages and they instantly delete within 10 to 15 seconds. It's almost, the Mission Impossible, this message will self-destruct in 10 seconds. And they just go away, and it's meant to not have a history. I personally believe it's designed against parents, and I'm sure it's going to say when we're helping them not get themselves making mistakes about something that's going to ruin their life by having this post that they did when they were a teenager and now they're adult trying to get a job and they have to justify that. But the reality is it's anti-parent. It's anti any kind of monitoring, and so it creates a post that goes away in 10 seconds. There's no reason they need to be on a Snapchat, because they can do the same exact things in Instagram, on Facebook, and text messaging. The only reason why they do it is because that's where everyone else is at. This is what they want to do that. But we actually said no Snapchat. That was a rule that we have, because you can't prove to be of value, and doing something in Snapchat you can't do on another platform. I mean, Instagram even has messaging now. You can do a message directly to a person in Instagram. So,
and with Snapchat, it's pictures or videos. And you might think, as somebody sending a picture or video through Snapchat, that it's gone in 10, 15 seconds, whatever the setting is. But if that person viewing it decides to take a screenshot, it's now permanent.
Which can be done within 10 seconds. I mean, you just press these two buttons, boom, you have a screenshot. And so I like that, screenshot. And then they may thought, well, it's safe because 10, 15 seconds it's gone. It's forever. Funny, just quickly think about the Seahawks victory, right? They went Super Bowl, party in the locker room. One of the players tweeted a picture out of the general manager, right, without his shirt on, wearing a big WWEF belt. Very embarrassing. This general manager would never want that out in the public. He tweeted it and instantly deleted it, but somebody grabbed a picture of it, snapped, quick took a picture, and it went viral, and everyone saw it. So even when, oops, I didn't mean to do that, delete it right away, boom, gone, I should have done that, someone will see it and instantly take a picture of it. So Snapchat is not, it does fall away, and you can't see what they're doing, but someone that they showed that picture to can keep that.
We had a girl at our school just this last week. She, a couple weeks ago, thought she was in love with this boy, had a crush on her, sent a picture, and I don't know if it was Snapchat or not, but it very well could have been, oh, Snapchat me a picture of you in your bra. She did it. They can't stand each other now. He has that picture. The teachers found it on his phone. So things like that, they can send them, they can take a screenshot and they have it, and they can do whatever they want with it.
And much
it's
worse.
Scary. Yeah.
There's a lot where I've read articles recently on cases where sexual violations have taken place and people have posted pictures of it.
Yeah.
And that's just what people do. That's the world that we live in. So we have to understand the reality of that. And we can't just say you don't get anything because they're there. And so we want to equip you with that. So Snapchat is one, and I would challenge you to find a reason that they could have Snapchat. I don't see it.
So who does it go to? Does it go to just who they choose, or everybody who is on?
So if you and I were friends on Snapchat, it almost looks like a phone book of numbers, just like your phone book would look like, and I'd take a picture and I'd say, oh, I want to send it to Michelle. So I'd send it to you and I'd say, make it last for 5 seconds. And so you'd see a picture, I don't know, maybe of my garden or something, like, oh, my garden's growing, send it to Michelle. You'd see it for 5 seconds, it's gone.
Now, I do have a question, because I don't truly know the app either.
Yeah.
Does it wait till that person sees the picture?
They have to open it. Yep.
So it sits out there until the recipient opens it and then sees it for 5 seconds and it goes away.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I just looked at the top 10 free apps on the Google Play Store, and Snapchat is number 9. So.
Is that the actual icon for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's popular.
Go back to the
Yeah. So here's another one, and this one might not be intentionally used as a bad app, but what Kick Messenger does, it's kind of a different platform for essentially sending text messages, but it goes generally through the Wi-Fi instead of through the service provider.
4G.
Yes, through the 3 or 4G, whatever it is. So it goes through the internet. Now, that's great if you have an iPod, thank you, and it doesn't have access to
text messaging.
So you can text or do whatever you want through the internet, Wi-Fi or whatever. But the SMS service provider, Verizon, whatever it is, does keep a log somewhere that's accessible by the account manager of all of the activity that's going on. When it bypasses the service provider, that log is not kept, if that makes sense.
So I want them text messaging their friends, or I don't want them on text messaging. I'll buy them an iPod Touch instead, so they can do the things that they want to do at the house only, because they can only do it in Wi-Fi, unless they go to another place that has Wi-Fi. They can't do it everywhere. Nevertheless, once they're at home, they can text message through that. And now, because they are not on network, because they're not through Verizon or through AT&T or T-Mobile, they're not through a mobile network, now it's not recorded either.
So, could be a good thing but it can also be used for a bad one. This is, it's number 11 on the top 3 charts right now.
Apple's top.
And there's Kick is not the only one. There is a bunch of different text interfaces. This just happens to be the most popular. Vine, this is kind of a craze that's going on. Basically what it is it's a 6-second video. Don't ask me why.
But it looks,
And it continually
over and over and over.
goes over and over. But the big problem is the hashtags. And we kind of talked about that because you can link it to whatever. Now you're watching videos that are not regulated from people around the world who can post whatever they want.
People will hashtag innocent words to lead to naughty videos. We
Yes.
ran into that issue.
Yes.
So yeah, that's not allowed in our house anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, just real quick, to go back to Snapchat, it actually, it's ahead of Instagram on the Apple market as far as downloads.
What is?
Snapchat is ahead of Instagram. It's up to 13.
Yeah.
So Vine is videos?
Vine is 6-second videos, just loop it over and over and
It stays in a thread then? So if you link it to a hashtag, anybody who wants to type in that hashtag will always see your video?
so same as any of those other hashtag apps. Okay, this one,
And literally, this is what it's called, just so that you know. And we didn't make this up. It is called chat roulette.
yeah, this would be one of those don't ever go near.
What is it?
Chat roulette. And there are a lot of different, there's a whole lot of apps that are very similar to this. Basically what it is you have to check the box saying that you're over 18, and anyone who knows what you're wearing can enter a video chat room with strangers through your webcam or through your, most phones have a little camera right in the front, and all of a sudden you're in a chat room with strangers. Predator City. Scary. Who knows what's going on there? I honestly don't know much about this one, the ins and outs of how it works, but I know it's one that is not good.
So does it just drops you in any old chat room, or is there?
Whatever's out there, right?
I don't know if you can say I want to go into a sports chat room, or I don't know. I don't know.
I think the name says it all.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Well, and 18 and over too, so.
Right, but
But anybody can check that box.
Exactly,
Yes.
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 and you're supposed to agree that you're fully clothed. And really how this works is people are not over 18 and they're not fully clothed and they're in a chat room together.
Because there's no monitoring, there's no one checking.
Yep. There's no real way to check that.
And if they're not in.
Are these free apps?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, these are all free.
Yep. Wow.
Anyone. Here's another one. This one, I don't know much about this one either. We've been reading up on it a little bit. Essentially, through Facebook, you have to have a Facebook account. And then you use your Facebook login to log into this Tinder app. And this, what it does is it takes pictures from your Facebook. We use the example of skiing, like if I had a picture of me skiing in one of my Facebook pictures and somebody else out there had a picture of them skiing, this Tinder app would kind of pair us together, and it would be of the opposite gender. So I would all of a sudden have this picture come across of this girl who maybe likes skiing or maybe doesn't like skiing. Maybe it's just this girl that comes across, and there's a little box down at the bottom that says, it's basically like check yes or no. And you can either like it or dislike it, and if you like it and the other person likes it, you're all of a sudden in basically an online relationship where they have information to your contact information, information of your interests, and it encourages you. The whole goal of this app, it's a hookup app. Its goal is to get you to meet up with the person on the other side, and the rest is history.
Did you say how you can set your settings?
Yeah.
So people who have Tinder can say, say they're a junior high student, they don't have a car, they can't drive anywhere. So they can say, I want people only within a 5 to 20-mile radius of this location. That's who I want to meet up with interest. So think of y'all, there's 5 junior highs, kids can meet with any student from those junior highs that they choose to. Let's meet in the park, Bradley Lake, we can hide out in the bushes in the back. I mean, it's scary, don't allow Tinder, and that's just hugely why. And also, predators can create those fake Facebook profiles, so your sweet little girl who's being a little daring goes to meet the hot boy that she, connected with on Tinder, and it's a man. I mean, you just beware of that. So, scary. And I actually just looked up really quickly, Brian, the chat roulette. So it's really addictive because it's random connections. So you log in, there's a chat room, you get sick of it, you log out of that one, it'll put you in another one. Oh, I kind of like this one. Okay, I'll stay here for a while. Get sick of that one, log out, sends you to another one. So random. It said the highest connections was someone in the U.S. Normally, but then the next country, 15% of the time will shoot you to France. So it's like all over the world, connections, different chat rooms.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where we live in a connected world, I think the hashtag shows, and I know the question, why would they do that? But we live in this connected world, and there is something validating about connecting. They play Xbox, they play Halo, and they're playing in online forums with other people. They're competing with people and playing with people all over the world, and they don't think twice about that because that's the world that we live in now. It's connected, but there's also people who live in that world and take advantage of that world. And that's what we have to talk about. And they have to guard them and go back to all the way with, like we talked about with Ron and setting boundaries and whatnot. Have to have this real conversation. Why would you be on Tinder? Why would you do chat roulette? I mean, if you see that on the phone, I mean, it's like, why? Why are you doing that? What are you hoping to get? It's indicating something else is going on.
And how popular are those last two?
Not as popular. I don't know. I was trying to find them on my list. And I don't believe I found them.
Kick Messenger made it to 38 on Apple's, and I'm not seeing the other
I've
ones.
heard a lot about Tinder. I just,
And it might be, on the outside, it might kind of look like a online dating type of app,
yeah.
but its intentions are much more than
Now,
that.
what does it say on its rating? Does it say 18 and older? Because when you change in your phone, in your kid's phone settings, you can set what their
Age limit.
is on apps. And so does Tinder, is it 18 and
Tinder,
older?
I think, is no, it's not, because it's Facebook.
Okay.
No.
But the other one was 18 and older.
Yeah.
It's a very popular app, millions of downloads.
I don't think that
Doesn't
one doesn't
say.
age.
It doesn't say if it's,
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Content rating, high maturity.
So if you had those restrictions set on your phone, it most likely would not allow this because of the content rating.
With all of this in mind and kind of what's out there on the internet, I want to talk about kind of some accountability, some responsibility, and prevention strategies that you may choose to use. I just want to let you know that there are tools out there to help in this kind of just huge sea of what in the world can I do. And so I'm going to talk about one, accountable to you. There are a lot of accountability software choices out there. Maybe you've heard of X3 Watch, or maybe you've heard of Covenant Eyes, or I've heard of like Net Nanny, or I don't know, maybe you guys know some more. K9? Okay, I haven't heard of that one. Yeah. So I've used some of those. I've used X3 quite a bit, and it's good. There's ways around everything. There's probably ways around this. But this is the most comprehensive accountability app that I have found, and I use it on all my devices. So I'm going to kind of run through this stuff, show you some of its features. It's pretty cool. The reason I like this one is because there's no frills and distractions with Accountable to You. It's to the point. This is the only statement and description it gives you about their software. It says accountable to use, specifically designed for people who want to be accountable. If you do not desire to be responsible and accountable while using your computer, then it's not the software for you. And it's something that can be used as a parent for your kids, and it can be very, very helpful.
It'll be hard to implement, of course, if it's a law. You have to have this.
Is this PC only or is it mobile?
So we're going to talk about that. So this is kind of how it's set up here, and I'll explain it a little more. So we have a living room computer, we have a laptop in our living room.
Yes, anything by the way?
Could you, yes, please.
A little late for that. And so I've downloaded it on all of my network accessing devices. So our laptop computer, my phone, and then she has a Nook. I don't even use it, but she has a Nook. So I put it on there as well. And what happens is you just literally go onto the website and log into it, and it says, okay, I'm taking over. It invades your privacy. That's what it is intending to do. It's putting eyes where you can't as a parent, and I love it. So what it does is it keeps track of a lot of records, your history, all on your account on the website accountable to you. And you set it up so that it can email reports, or actually it doesn't email reports. What it does is it emails suspicious activity to the people who you set it up to email to. So for me, I have a group of guys that I've met with since 7th grade on a weekly basis. I send it to all 3 of those guys, and then Rhonda gets an email as well. So any kind of suspicious activity, and it goes in, there's different ratings, there's the yellow light, the red light, and then there's a double red light. And it really takes, I'm just amazed at what this does. So you'll kind of see some examples of that here in a little bit. So I just want to show you, so you can go in at any time and click view report and watch what's going on. So this is what it would kind of look like. So this is my phone, okay, and it goes through everything. Everything that I used that day, so this was, February 5th, and it tells you how many records I'm logging in that app. So I've got, my alarm clock, Android system, I don't even know what that is. Bank of America. I was working on some Flappy Bird. So you might know what that is.
It's all over the schools right now, that's all they want to do.
39 right now, so anyway.
Jesse hasn't got on board yet.
But anyway, any app that I open,
That's my question.
it's a game.
Accountable to you is garbage, but it's not that expensive. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so email everything. And what I want to, so that's kind of the records, and then I can click on any of those. I can click on any of these. So we'll go into it. And this is that kind of report I was talking about. It rates everything that I log as one of these colors. So, for example, here's my text message report. And it's way long, there's pages and pages of this, because as you can see, I don't know how you got this little laser to go.
Is that for one day?
Oh, this is, look at the time frame. It starts at, that's 10:04 and 59 seconds. So that's later. This is at 9:52 and 20 seconds. So, I mean, we're talking, we're talking 12 minutes here. And I was typing a message that said, thanks, exclamation mark. So it logged that I typed a T at, at 9:54 and 18 seconds, an H at, with an additional second. So it is logging, I mean, it's invasive. It knows exactly what you're doing. And so it gets to this one, and there's a yellow warning. Now, yellow isn't anything too serious, but it might be worth looking into. And so it says Drew, because my friend Andy was texting me, and so it shows the name of the person texting me, and he said, talking about the Super Bowl, we're watching it at my sister's house. It's Noah's birthday, huge Broncos family, so we're having a party over there. Thanks for the invite though. I don't know what tripped this to be a yellow party. It might have been party, it might have been sister. So,
It's a bias.
But it is, so that didn't send any report, that didn't, notify Rhonda, but if she were to go in and look at my report for that day, she'd see, because there's an alerts log, so she wouldn't have to scroll through all of this stuff. There's a log at the top that says, these are the questionable activities, okay, so that would show up there. I was texting her dad, and I was, just quickly texting it, I don't even know what I was saying, and I said, and it's going to be fun, or something like that. Well, I typed it wrong, and it's had a T in the front of it, and so it was
My dad.
tits. And is it on the next one?
I saw it.
Oh, yes, right here, down here.
And it's not even, it's a capital I too, which is so weird.
And it went crazy. I didn't even know it did this, and so Rhonda got an email. All my friends got an email. And they're like, what's going on?
It comes right away.
So this is a screenshot of her email, and so it did not like that activity. It notified right away, and I have it set up. There's a setting in there that it can be, if there's a double red or a red notification, it'll instantly send a text message to the people in the group. This email comes within about an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Here's how the alerts report would work. So I was looking for a new mountain bike, and I was on Craigslist on the internet looking for whatever mountain bike this is, and it's called a KHS Fetish downhill mountain bike. Fetish. Tripped it, and she got an email right away. So that's just some examples of how this works.
So we could put something like that on our kid's phone?
Yes.
And can they erase it, or who can actually go to the reports? Can you?
So you could set it up with them. That would probably be the best thing to make sure. I'm not trying to rule over your life, but I want to make sure that you're accountable, not before me, but before the Lord with the decisions you're making on your phone. And you can set it up so it's active on my phone. If I want, I can go on here and shut it off. It's going to send you an email.
Oh. So
And then-
even if they try to get sneaky, then you're going to be emailed, and that's time to revoke that privilege.
The thing that I like about this one is it doesn't say no to anything. You do whatever you want, but you have to be accountable.
How much does
to
it cost?
So the cost, I believe, you can pay per month. It's like $5 a month, or it's like 50 or 60 bucks a year.
Is that for unlimited devices?
Unlimited devices.
All our devices are unlimited,
And it's actually cheaper than the Covenant Eyes or the X3, and they are not as intense as this one. I've really enjoyed. I actually just got this a couple months ago, so I don't know the full extent of its features, but I know that as somebody who wants to be accountable for my actions, man, it works. And I would love to be able to not have that, but in the society we live in, man, I'm so thankful. I mean, it helps me to honor my wife. It helps me to build my relationship with the Lord. It's awesome.
Question?
Those apps that you were talking about, the previous ones, can they download those apps in the PlayStations, like PlayStation 3 or whatever?
I don't think so. There's a difference between an app market and the internet. I even know if you have an Apple TV at home, it's a limited market. And so there's a difference between apps and websites. So I don't even know if PlayStation has an app market.
Yeah.
But don't wait, I imagine that someday soon they will, because that's where everything's going, is an app market.
Xbox has an app market,
Okay.
so the Xbox definitely has one. The app selection is minimal right now. Mostly it's like it's for content like Hulu, Vudu, Netflix, NFL Mobile, things like that. I think PlayStation took a different route when they went PlayStation 4, but
The Wii
obviously
has
it's
one.
the Wii has.
Yeah, we did.
There's an app market too, yeah, and that's where we're going, we're an app-based world.
So does that mean you can use this on your Apple TV too?
Is that one of the devices?
We don't have cable or anything, so we don't have it on our TV.
Anything that accesses the internet, if you can access the internet from that device, you can put this on there.
I don't know.
So this wouldn't work on a phone that doesn't have data, correct?
It would.
Yeah.
Because, like, my son still has a dumb phone, he does not have a smartphone.
it's just-
But it doesn't have data.
It doesn't have internet access.
No, so
Okay,
this would
no.
not work, okay.
If it does not have internet access, it will not work on the app.
But if it does have internet access, it monitors your texts.
Yep. It monitors anything you type in there. If you are on YouTube and you type into the search bar something that is flagged, it will catch that.
It's always important to take a look at what capabilities the application has. Like for instance, I use something very similar to this called Ever Accountable, and it'll work specifically with like a Dolphin browser for mobile, and then they'll add in Chrome, they'll add in Opera, they'll add in Safari, things like that. But you need to take a look, and it'll specifically tell you here's the compatibility matrix for this program. These are the things for the applications that it supports. These are the things that are currently under development that are coming future-wise, and these are the things that we do not support.
How do you find that out?
It'll list it on the app.
Okay.
Yeah, if you take a look at the details for the app, it will tell you in the website or in the App Store what it can do and what it can't do.
How safe is your data on this?
Yeah, can they take it back from you? Can they steal your information?
Oh,
Oh.
I mean, if you're typing in your thanks, you could type in your password and they'd have your password.
right. It does make a note on the website that it says any passwords or secured information, credit card numbers are not recorded. So I honestly don't know if that's true or not, but
Will it show they're logging into
Yeah, I have a report pulled up here.
it would show,
Well, it showed that he was in B of A,
Yeah.
But it did show it to be
but
a
it didn't show any other information.
no.
We go to one of his
So,
messaging, so I click on that,
yeah,
it'll bring.
But if you click on it,
I can't click on this, but
I mean, but if you could,
yeah.
then would it bring up like your?
Yeah, it'll bring up any information, so like, if I click on internet here, it'll go through any websites I was at,
the list.
anything.
So when you go to Bank of America, you just said that's on there.
That's a good question. It's not gonna go to all of my bank stuff, but that's,
It's gonna go to the website, when you click on it.
I can check on that for you, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
This is a report problem.
Oh. Let's see, if I click on Bank of America,
If you're using it, or if you have any other ones, Jason, if you have one, email them to me, we can look them up and go there. This was one that he's used when we talked about it, and it sounded reasonable. I said, yeah, let's present it, because at least you know it's out there and what to look for.
No, the app looks great. The only thing I thought of is, man, if they can hack Target,
Sure.
if they hack this
Go
thing,
back the other way too.
yeah, you know.
so what it says for Bank of America is it says sign in instead of actually saying my username, and then it says your site key instead of actually saying what my site key is.
So it's actually signing into the Bank of America, not this program.
It's telling them that he signed into
Right.
Bank of America. It's not actually signing in. It's saying that once he
You gotta
got there,
sign
he entered
in.
this. It doesn't say what he entered. And
Yeah.
it says he did this, it doesn't say what he did.
And he even says like, at a point that was loading.
Right. And Bank of America probably has something in their security features that doesn't send that information out. Because what this app is doing is it's gathering information that website gives out. And Bank of America probably has firewalls that doesn't return information that direction. So that's my guess, is how security works. All I could ask Gabe if he takes classes like that.
And, I mean, you can call these people. I had an issue with downloading it on one of the devices. I sent an email, and it was literally 5 minutes later I had an answer to my email, personalized response, and things are fixed. So go to the technical support if you have questions, call them up.
Yeah, now, after you look at a report, can you delete it so that you're limiting that? Like, does it save every report forever, or?
Yeah, so I don't have a screenshot here that I can show. Oh, yeah. So I can go right here and type in a different date, and it'll go back to whatever date you want to look at.
Since you started this?
Yep. I believe so. It might have some feature where maybe it only tracks for like a month back. I don't know. But if everything's good and you're not, nothing's being flagged, you don't even get notified. Life just goes on. And then
It'll send you like a weekly just report, and if you're wondering, you can go in and look, but unless you've been notified, you really have no reason to go in.
One of the other features of accounts like this is, I don't know if Accountable to You has this, but the one that I use does. If you haven't used your device for a certain period of time, you'll get an email to the person, the accountability partner, and it says, this account hasn't been active. This device hasn't been active for a certain period of time. So that can also be a flag that something occurred where you're trying to do an end around on the program or something like that. So.
Good point.
All right, well, that's our presentation. That's what we have to share. Are there any other questions, just in general, that we can answer before we just close in prayer?
Just for me, just something to say, if your kid wants an app, just type it into Google and see what they think about it, or type in 10 worst apps for kids or whatever, because Snapchat popped up and Kik popped up, and I was like, why do you want one of the 10 worst apps, or whatever. It's something that before you just go, oh, it's just a messaging app, okay, just double check what you're actually downloading on the phone.
I guess I have a question just of your guys' opinion, really, like, because Logan doesn't have a smartphone and she doesn't have access to the computer and stuff, but obviously I know she uses her friends. In your opinion, would you think it would be smarter to maybe give her some of those privileges where I can actually monitor her instead of pretending like it's not, you know what I mean? Like waiting for her to get in trouble at school for having somebody else's phone and doing it anyway, where I have no monitoring and I have no idea what's going on, even though she's abused it and that's why she doesn't have that privilege? Would it be smarter to...
Well, I think junior high kids, from what I know, just teaching this so far this year, they like to have ownership and they like to be shown responsibility and trust. So if you feel like it would be appropriate as her mother to maybe say, I'm willing to get you a smartphone, I'd like to have this on it and here's why, and we can try this and see. She might, respond really well to that.
Right, and I think she would.
Yeah, and I would try it if I were you, especially if you can have this and let her know that, yes, this is what we'll be doing, but I think, you're maturing into a young lady and I'd like to see you on the right path.
And you're validating, they are growing up.
And I've already laid the groundwork as far as to start earning privileges back, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna hold this to you forever, and the whole goes back to the whole issue of grace,
Here's the deal too. Reality, in a couple of years, she's not going to be in your home, so you need to teach her how to and she's going to buy whatever she wants to.
Right.
So as a quick rule, we could make a rule that they're not to put no new apps on their device unless they do it and have permission with you and for you and with you, or like you're going to take their device away for 1 month.
You can set that boundary if you want to do that, and then you're looking at the apps that they have, and if they violated that boundary that you set. See, I think the way I see to do it is give them the boundaries, give them the freedom, give them. This is what you can do versus what you can't do. Becca always was in our parenting. She always would say positive reinforcement, not negative. Show them trust. If they burn it, they burn it. And then, but you've established that you can have this. If you want to have a smartphone, that's fine. Here's some of the things. I want to have this on accountability. If you want to do new apps, we're going to set up a way where you have to go through me to get apps, or I'm going to monitor your apps and those type of things. Because to them, the new world is I now have to get a smartphone like everyone else. But we do know that they'll always push those boundaries. And that's for parents. And so we're going to get equipped. We're going to be in God's Word. We're going to be in prayer. And we're going to be ready when those boundaries, which we know are going to be pushed.
So when you buy something like this, I could, like if I'm worried about credit card numbers and stuff, I could buy it and only install it on what I want to and not want to. I don't have to put it on my home computer where I do online purchases and banking and stuff. I can only put it on our phones if I want.
And just in researching some of these apps today, during the sessions that were going on, Ronald was getting emails because I was searching chat roulette and looking up things on chat roulette. He did it for you guys, okay?
Accountability emails about him going and just looking up these apps.
So,
Your friends are gonna be calling it.
yeah, which is great. That's why it creates the opportunity for conversation.
Yeah, they're like, what are you doing today?
I know.
He's like, I was on purity
Well,
Security problem.
Yeah, right.
Worse, look at that stuff in your there. You're in shame.
Yes, that's right.
well, I hope this is of value to you. I do also pray that this is just the beginning of opportunities for us to have stuff like this for you guys to help you along. I know Becca and I and the rest of the youth leadership team desire to have more of this, and so we're there with you. We're parents. You know, I have 2 teenage boys, and we're with you on that. So, but let me just cover this in prayer. Let me just close this in prayer, and then have a good night. If we're here for questions. I'll get you contact information. Email me. Always email me. I'm going to be emailing them a ton, and so I can pass questions along. And just let us be the resource that we want to be in your lives in that. And then we'll go back and forth. Let us know if you do accountability to you. Let me know how it's going. Let me know what you're working on, and let's create this community of learning and growing together.
Also on that app, do you obligate yourself, or is it month to month and you can stop anytime you choose?
Month to month.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's technically not an app, it's software.
Okay.
Through the internet. So.
Which means in the cloud, you're not downloading. Okay, let me pray.